Good morning. This is Mr. Eshelman. It's Wednesday, May 6th, 2020. Let's play ball. Even though we can't go to the baseball park, can't go to the stadiums, and we can't be on a team right now with all of our friends like we might like to be, we can still play ball. There's a picture of a ball inside of a baseball glove. You might have those things at your house to be able to play. And if it's not baseball or a glove, I'm sure you have something you can toss around when you get some fresh air and get some exercise. You might see the picture on the other side. That's the Baltimore Orioles baseball stadium down in Baltimore, Maryland. So hopefully we'll get back to those places in the near future, whether you're a Phillies fan or a Yankees fan or an Orioles fan or a Red Sox fan, or maybe you're not a baseball fan at all, and that's okay too. But it's spring, and I got a quote from one of our fifth grade friends that got me thinking about baseball. So that's why I have a baseball themed morning announcements today. Birthdays, there aren't any for Denver Elementary anyway. If you have a family member that has a birthday, wish them a happy birthday or a friend. But at Denver Elementary School, there are no staff or student birthdays today. Some wisdom for the day. This is a quote that one of our fifth grade friends sent us by a man named George Herman Ruth Jr., who you might know as Babe Ruth, one of the most famous baseball players in history. He said, "Every strike brings me closer to the next home run." So Babe Ruth, you might know, was a great home run hitter, but home run hitters also strike out a lot. So Babe Ruth knew that. He might have been frustrated when he struck out or swung really hard at the ball and it went right past him. That can be frustrating, just like when you make mistakes on spelling tests or math quizzes or reading tests. That can be frustrating too. Babe Ruth says, use those strikes, use those mistakes to become better, to become stronger, so you can do it well the next time. So, of course, when we think of Babe Ruth, if you know anything about Babe Ruth, I think of the home runs and how far he could hit the ball. I don't think about the strikeouts, even though he struck out a lot, as most home run hitters do. That's what he's telling you. Nobody will remember the mistakes if you use those mistakes to become great at whatever it is that you're doing. So don't get down on yourself if you make any mistakes today or in the future. Use those as learning opportunities. If you're getting everything right all the time and you never make mistakes and you're practically perfect all the time, you might not be pushing yourself as hard as you could. Now, you don't want to push yourself so hard that you're frustrated and in tears. That might be a little bit too challenging if you get to that point. But making mistakes is part of how you learn. And if you use those mistakes, maybe someday you'll be like Babe Ruth and in history books, and they'll make movies about you and all those kinds of things. Our questions of the day also go back to Babe Ruth with our baseball theme. The kindergarten first, second grade question says, Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs during the 1927 season. In his last full season in 1934, he hit 22 home runs. How many more home runs did Babe Ruth hit in 1927 than in 1934? Those are facts. So if you want to look those statistics up, you can do that. And that's how we can use facts to do some math as well. Learn a little bit of history, a little bit of baseball, and a little bit of math all at the same time. The third, fourth, and fifth grade question, this one's pretty tough. This might be one of the toughest ones we've had on the morning announcements yet. And these are all facts also. These are real statistics from Babe Ruth's career. It says, here are Babe Ruth's home run totals from 1920 to 1923. In 1920, he had 54 home runs. In 1921, he hit 59 home runs. In 1922, 35 home runs. And in 1923, he hit 41 home runs. So the question then, and you can use a calculator to calculate this, what was the average number of home runs Babe Ruth hit each season during that time? That's a tough one. If you really want a challenge, you could also do it in pencil and paper. You might come out with a decimal. That's okay. So obviously, if you come out with a decimal, you need to round it because you can't have part of a home run. A decimal is part of a whole, like a fraction. So if you do get a decimal at the end of it, round it to the nearest whole number because you either hit a home run or you don't. You can't have part of a home run. And some jokes for the day, also baseball related. How long did the baseball players spend at the library? Only 5 minutes. It was a shortstop. Get it? Shortstop is a position in the infield in baseball. And the second one, a man at a baseball game kept wondering why the ball kept getting bigger and bigger. And then it hit him. Get it? That was probably not that funny. So keep sending your jokes. Hopefully we'll get some good ones. And let's stand up and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So have a great Wednesday. Learn lots of new things. Work hard, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.